This document is the ultimate breakup letter. This paper was ratified for approval on July 4th, but was not signed until August 1776. It was drafted by John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Robert Livingston, Roger Sherman, and Thomas Jefferson, and it took 86 edits. Ultimately, this here paper was signed by 56 different men. The last person to sign this paper was Matthew Norton on November 4th, 1776. Robert Livingston never signed it. This document's premise was to break from Great Britain. It was written under the ideas that people had inalienable rights such as life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. All men were created equal, and individuals have civic duties that must be protected. This document's ratification date is celebrated as the 4th of July or Independence Day here in the United States. Yes, this is the Declaration of Independence. At the time, colonists and the British Crown under King George III were not vibing. They had been in conflict since 1765 after attempts by the British to recoup debts from the colonies after the French and Indian War. They taxed colonists, what the colonists thought unfair, even though they were paying significantly lower taxes than that of their friends across the pond in Britain. Mounting escalation between both sides saw colonists choose to act and have two Continental Congress sessions. The Second Continental Congress met in 1776 and met to decide whether or not they liked to keep the relationship with the British Crown or end it. On June 11, 1776, Congress appointed Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, Roger Sherman, Robert Livingston, and Thomas Jefferson to draft a letter explaining the reasons for their defection to be written by Jefferson himself. It underwent 86 edits, including the removal of a 168-word condemnation by Jefferson to the king over the issue of slavery and the evils it brought upon the colonies. It decried that it was a crime against humanity and was removed for the sake of politics because they didn't want to offend Southerners, which Jefferson squarely pointed at the representatives from Georgia and South Carolina. During the initial vote for the Declaration on July 1st, South Carolina voted against ratification, and New York and Delaware abstained. Given that the document was desired to be passed unanimously, they re-voted after some debate on July 2nd, 1776. Robert New York, who chose not to vote, voted for ratification. On July 4th, Congress adopted this final draft of the Declaration of Independence, and today we celebrate it as Independence Day. While King George III, for his part, that day wrote in his diary that nothing significant had happened. On August 2nd, 1776, the Declaration of Independence was signed by the remaining 22 men who did not sign the 4th of July, with John Hancock, the president of the Continental Congress's signature standing alone, and the other signatures grouped by state north to south. 8 delegates never signed the Declaration of Independence, even though the men voted on July 4th. They were John Alsop, George Clinton, John Dickinson, Charles Humphreys, Robert R. Livingston, John Rogers, Thomas Willing, and Henry Wisner. Clinton, Wisner, and Livingston were away. Willing and Humphreys were replaced for voting against the July 19th final engrossed copy resolution. Rogers won the resolution, but was not a delegate at the time of the signing. Alsop wanted to go back to Britain, so he resigned, and Dickinson, while still a congressman, refused to sign, thinking it too early. The last signee, Matthew Norton, signing in November of that year. There it is. The colonists hit King George with the Dear John letter and told him in Alien AJ style that this was their breakup song. So the next time you want to end things with someone, just send them a Declaration of Independence and explain why you're choosing freedom in letter form. Let's get into it.